And now, Mike's thoughts.
Justin Fields, the man, the myth, the legend himself, thinks he's going to be great in New York. Well, no duh. If you do not think you're going to be great, you do not belong in the NFL. Pack your bags and go sell insurance. But despite a rocky start to his NFL career, Justin Fields walked into Jets camp with a different energy. After a bouncing between 3 teams and 4 coordinators in 5 seasons, he finally is in a situation that feels just right. That actually might make sense. The right team, the right scheme at the right time. Justin Fields says, I think I can be great. Fields said after the Jets' 5th OTA practice this week, and you know what? He said it like he believed it. He didn't flinch and he didn't quantify it. He owned it. And now, for the first time, he's got a coaching staff that believes in unlocking his all potential, not just to highlight real runs. Offensive coordinator Tanner, fresh from the Detroit, says he's got an arm. Head coach Aaron Glenn says he has a mentality is phenomenal. Guys, the Jets are not just looking for a quarterback who can escape pressure. They want a quarterback who commands the entire offense. We've already seen shifts from Fields from 8-4 in his first 12 starts to splitting time with the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers while cutting back on turnovers and showing real growth. That's not a fluke. That's called progress. Guys, and do not let the quiet demeanor fool you. He's confident. He's unshakable. His role, undisputed. The post-Aaron Rodgers era in New York doesn't feel like a rebuild. It feels like a reset. With Fields right underneath center, he will open up the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that benched him last season and doesn't have anything to say about it. No. There's no drama. There's no headlines. And it's just business. So yeah, Justin Fields thinks he will be great in New York. And guess what? For the first time in a long time, guys, he actually might be right. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw, steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off, get it hype. This man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman, everybody bringing heat. You don't really wanna try 'em. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? The Bucks are in town. High five, boys. Let's go, guys. Welcome to Man Hour NFL Talk, guys. Your go-to spot for live, raw, uncut NFL talk, guys. I'm so glad you're with us here tonight. All the Buck boys are here. But before you guys in today's action, guys, let me tell you a little bit about manhourradio.com. That is where you can grab the latest merch, check out the most recent blogs, and stay up to date everything that's happening in the Buckheiser household. But wait, guys, there is even more. You become a Pigskin Pundit today. That's our members-only lives or a members-only community where you get free entry to all of our weekly NFL pick'ems, our giveaways, exclusive merch, and extra live streams as well. You also get on the inside of the house of what's going on the backside of things, guys. But do not forget to hit the like button, hit the share button, and of course share this with a couple friends as well, because sharing is caring at the end of the day. But now, guys, it's a live, interactive show, so let's get down your comments below. I want to hear your thoughts, and your opinions. But we got to welcome the boys. What's up, boys?
And I might be here tomorrow.
You might be here tomorrow. Trip, what's up, dude?
Ow, we'll be at the
Whatever Trip just said. All right, guys. So let's welcome the people in the chat, guys. Let's welcome to the Cheaper chat. We do got a chat, or we do got a poll going here at Facebook.com and of course YouTube.com. Don't interrupt when I'm talking. Mellow Mike says the question mark is McCarthy, JJ McCarthy in Minnesota, and how well Caleb does in year one of the Ben Johnson offense. That is a great question. That is a great question. We'll get that to later in today's show. Alpha Rob is in the chat as well, boys. We got my man Alpha Rob is in there. Push the right button. There we go.
I want me ready.
All right. Alpha Rob says Justin Fields is trash. Come on, baby. Slow it down, baby. Go ahead.
Okay, go. I'll have a go and Daddy can come on to buy a house and I can die.
Yep, somebody put an offer in our house and we accepted the offer today. So we're moving.
Oh, Dad.
What, Trippy?
Man, I will.
All right. Time for you guys to go. We'll go inside and go back and get back and go get Jay. Jimmy's on. Mellow Mike says the real questions for the chat. If you'd have to trade Buck, what do you expect back? You get these guys back. You get the Buck boys. That is what you get. All right, Trippy. Mom wants you. Go, buddy. All right, guys. Live, raw, uncut sports talk. They are out of here. The boys are at, and then we are I said you get a box of cheese. Alpha Rob said the Buck boys are in the house. They are in the house, and they are wild, and they already need to go back to school. Not even gonna lie. They've been out of school for 2 days. They need to go back. They need to go back. Mellow Mike says cheese is a little rich for Buck, but my PFS sources says they have realistic expectations and are a handful of dry Irelands. I was hoping for a half a drink. Yeah, Glenn, come on, Buck. Up them hot takes. All right, guys. Alrighty, guys. It is time to get into today's NFC way too early win-loss predictions. And we're going to start off on the top, talk out with the best team in the NFC, and that is the one and only, the Chicago Bears. Guys, it is a brand new era in the Windy City with new head coach Ben Johnson at the helm, and the second-year quarterback Caleb Williams is stepping up to be the guy. The excitement around the Chicago Bears is real. The excitement around the city of Chicago is real, but with excitement comes expectations, right? The Chicago Bears have reloaded their roster. They've had a phenomenal draft, a phenomenal offseason. They have young talent on both sides of the ball, and they have one of the most dynamic offensive minds now leading the charge in Ben Johnson. So, guys, today, on May 29, 2025, we are breaking down the way too early win-loss predictions for the 18-week NFL season for the Chicago Bears. I'll walk you through each matchup. I got you wins and losses, and we'll stop by key points to recap during the season. But let's get into it. And week number 1, Monday Night Football, the Chicago Bears at home hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Guys, all eyes will be on Soldier Field with the debut of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams 2.0. I got the Bears coming out strong in prime time and taking down the Minnesota Vikings, starting the season off 1-0. Ben Johnson era is off on the right foot with a huge divisional win on prime time Monday Night Football. But then week number 2, they have yet another divisional game, another NFC North challenge, but this time on the road going to Detroit. And this is a reality check. The Lions are still the class of the division for now. And this is an early road trip, ends in a tough loss. The Bears drop down to 1-1. Week number 3, they're back at home playing the Dallas Cowboys. And the Chicago Bears bounce back at home and shock a Cowboys team still trying to find his footing underneath the post-Mike McCarthy era. I think this is where Caleb Williams shows major growth, and the Chicago Bears move to 2-1. So huge wins over the Cowboys and the Vikings, guys. The buzz around the Bears is still real. And that carries on to week 4 when they travel to Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Guys, the Vegas is still rebuilding and the Bears capitalize. Defense forces turnovers and Caleb Williams plays efficient football. The Bears close out the first quarter of the season 3-1 and atop the NFC North. So for the first 4 weeks, guys, the Bears fans are fired up. The media is praising Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson looks like a home run hire. The offense has rhythm, and they've got early statement wins over the Vikings, Cowboys, and then a dominant win over the Las Vegas Raiders as well. But then week number 5, there are some mid-season bumps in the road. Mid-season is going to be tough for the Chicago Bears because week 5, they do have a bye week, maybe a little bit too early, but we digress. Coming out of week 6 bye week, they travel to Washington to take on the Commanders. And this is where they start to stumble. They stumble versus a very, very good Commanders team. The Commanders' defense give Caleb Williams problems, and the Bears fall to 3-2 on the season. This will not be a Hail Mary into the play a game like last season. Week 7, they are back at home. They're back at Soldier Field, and the Bears bounce back. The Saints have nothing for the Chicago Bears to keep up with them. The Bears improved to 4-2. But then week 8, they travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Guys, the Baltimore Ravens are a different beast. Lamar Jackson and that defense are just too much for them. The Bears fall to 4-3 on the season. And then week number 9, they travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Another NFC North road game and another tough loss. Joe Burrow picks apart that secondary, and they drop to 4-4. So after their 3-1 start, the Chicago Bears go 1-3 in their next set, sitting at 500. This is where we start to learn what this team is really made of. Is Ben Johnson really the guy? Is the Chicago Bears really the home run that everybody thinks they're going to be? And I do think they start getting back on track because week 10, they're back at home and they handle business at home versus the New York Football Giants. Guys, the Giants still can't figure out their quarterback situation. I think come week 10, we are going to be hearing rumblings of start the rookie. Russell Wilson isn't it. Jameis Winston might be the guy. We might even see Tommy DeVito sighting in there. Either way, they get the win. Week number 11, they travel to Minnesota. That's right. They travel to Minnesota and they sweep the season series with the Vikings. A huge divisional win in the Dome pushes the Chicago Bears to 6-4 on the season and sweeping a depleted Minnesota Vikings team. A depleted Minnesota Vikings fan base. Come at me now, boys. Week number 12, they're back at home yet again, this time playing a tough Pittsburgh Steelers team. But the Bears offense has found its groove. Caleb Williams makes some highlight reels, and the Bears jump to 7-4, giving a 3-game winning streak. But then, week 13, Black Friday, short week, after long fights, hostile environment, the Philadelphia Eagles guys are just too physical for the Chicago Bears, and the Bears fall to 7-5, heading into the final stretch of the season. So this is where the Bears start to build the buzz about the playoffs, right? At 7-5, with wins over the Cowboys, Steelers, and sweeping the Vikings, the Chicago Bears guys are firmly in the hunt. They're firmly in the hunt. They are talking about it. Everybody is thinking, hey, Ben Johnson is a genius. In week 14, it carries over when they travel to Lambeau Field. And they get a huge win at Lambeau Field. And the Bears jump to 8-5 on the season, sending a message to the rest of the division. Lions, better watch out. Vikings, we own your asses. Packers, we just beat you. Ain't nobody coming in and messing with us. In week 15, they're back at home playing the Cleveland Browns, and the Chicago Bears continue to roll. Caleb Williams outduels Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett will be starting quarterback for the Browns, and the Bears go to 9-5 on the season. But then reality strikes. Reality strikes because they're sitting at 9 wins. They have a winning season, but they have 3 tough games left. They got the Packers, 49ers, and the Lions. They win one of these, they are in the playoffs. That's all you got to do. You got to win one game and you are in the playoffs. Can they do it? No, they cannot. Week 16, they're back at home and the Green Bay Packers get the revenge. Divisional games are always tough and this one slips away weight. They lose to the Green Bay Packers at home week 16. Week 17, they travel to San Francisco for 49ers. One of the toughest matchups of the season. I think the 49ers dominate the Bears in the trenches and the Bears get humbled quickly. This game might be over at halftime, drop to 9-7. And then week 18, all they got to do is beat the Detroit Lions. All they got to do is win one more game. All they got to do is play decent, but they can't. Playoff hopes on the Lions, and they lose to the Detroit Lions at home. A heartbreaker in Soldier Field to finish the regular season. So guys, I have the Bears finishing at 9-8. Not quite a double win season, not a lock for the playoffs, but this team is very, very close. So those are my way too early predictions for the Chicago Bears, guys, 9-8. They'll push for a wild card spot in the NFC. Caleb Williams takes major leaps forward. Ben Johnson proves to be the right hire, and the Bears finally feel like a real football team again. But those are just my opinions, guys. It's a live interactive show. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know. Old Man River says 4th place behind the Packers, Vikings, and Lions. Well, I didn't know those were all the teams in the division. Mellow Mike says the Bears will go 8-9. Old Man River says 8-9. Man, you all crazy. Slow it down. Give those boys a winning record. Mellow Mike says if we send Caleb Williams nail polish remover, they might win 9 games. No, the fingernail polish makes you more aerodynamic when you throw the ball. Old Man River says, then he jumps into the stands and cries for his mama. Man, you really gonna go there, Old Man River? Boy, I cannot wait until this bot's live because Ace, I'm gonna be like, Ace, roast Old Man River. He's gonna roast your ass, boy. He's gonna roast that ass. Alpha Rob says 6-11 for the Chicago Bears and in last place. That's tough. Damn. No love for the Chicago Bears? Mellow Mike says, I think replacing Matt Eberflus is worth some wins. That guy was vanilla with his defense. Matt Eberflus was the worst hire ever, Mellow Mike. He should have been fired after his first season. He should have been fired after his second season. He should have been fired mid-season last year. But sheesh. Buck has no face in Jackson Dart. Come on, man. He's good enough to sweep the Dallas Cowboys. We talked about the New York Giants, and I think Russell Wilson will ultimately be the quarterback all season long, but Jackson Dart is definitely waiting in the win. Better than Jameis and better than Tommy, 100%. My man Shay Fraser's in the chat. What's up, Shay? He says, this man is delirious. The Bears ain't sweeping no one in the North. Yes, they are. They're sweeping the piss-poor Vikings. Piss-poor Vikings. Shay, I know you are new here, and you are a new fan. I got the little high thing there. Listen, all last season, Shay, I told the Vikings fans, you're going to be one and done. You're going to be one and done. You're going to be 1-1. They were pissed. They were pissed. And they're going to be even more pissed when I give them their win-loss record here, the next three teams. But trust me, Vikings are getting swept by the Bears this season. Mellow Mike says the Bears beating the Packers and Lambeau. I'm considering that dryer lint, Buck. Sheesh, man. Sheesh. My guy. I'm worth more than a little bit more dryer lint. And I like a little bit. If you're going to trade me, like I'm at least like the dryer sheet, like the bounce, make your clothes smell good. Man, that's tough. That is tough. But those are your guys' thoughts. Let's move on to the Detroit Lions, guys. And the Detroit Lions are no longer the feel-good story. They are no longer the Cinderella story. They are no longer the team that wish was everybody. Guys, they are seriously contenders now. When you look at the Detroit Lions, guys, they are contenders. After back-to-back playoff appearances and that core staying mostly intact, expectations, guys, are sky high for Dan Campbell's squad. But the 2025 NFL schedule is no joke. There are trap games, primetime tests, and powerhouse opponents all lined up. So tonight, guys, we're diving into the way too early win-loss prediction for the Detroit Lions 2025 NFL season. So, guys, let's hit every key matchup, every pick, and find out if whether or not this Detroit Lions team is going to make a step forward and repeat in the NFC North, or have they already hit their ceiling? And, guys, I think they have hit their ceiling. I think they've hit their ceiling, and they get battle-tested early. One of the toughest tests of the seasons come out in week 1 when they travel to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Guys, this rivalry has a new energy, and the Packers are getting better and better and better, Super Bowl better, and the Detroit Lions are even good as well. But the Detroit Lions lose at Lambeau. A tough pace of play, especially week 1, the Lions start 0-1. And then week number 2, they're back at home. Detroit Lions rebounds divisional with the divisional statement at home. Jared Goff gets into rhythm early, and the defense makes Caleb Williams uncomfortable. The Lions even things up at 1-1. Week number 3, they travel to Baltimore. Baltimore is brutal at home, and Lamar Jackson just does not lose to NFC teams. I don't know what it is, but Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens have the numbers for the NFC teams. And Lamar Jackson mobility gives the Lions front 7 problems. The Detroit Lions dropped to 1-2 on the season. But then it gets a little bit easier. This one's gritty at home, but the Lions impose their will at the line of scrimmage, and they outlast the Browns in a physical battle, moving to 2-2 on the season. So a back and forth first month, guys, right? Sitting at 2-2, the Detroit Lions have shown flashes, but also the burden of expectations. The key, they've weathered some top-tier opponents, the Packers, the Ravens, and they have yet to hit their stride. Let's just be honest about it. And week number 5, they start to hit their stride. They hit their stride at Cincinnati when they go on the road to take on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. The Lions make a statement here. This is where the defense truly arrives. Huge road win for the Lions. And then week number 6, they play the best team in the NFL at the best stadium in the NFL, the one and only Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium, and the Detroit Lions stuns Arrowhead again. Jared Goff picks apart the secondary, and the defense holds up just enough. The Lions win back-to-back AFC showdowns and move to 4-2 on the season. And then week number 7, they're back at home on Monday Night Football to take on the one and only Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All eyes are watching this game. This is where the Detroit Lions look like a complete team heading into the bye week, and they dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. Now, week 8 is their bye week. So after a slow start, guys, the Detroit Lions catch fire. With wins over Cincinnati, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have them rolling. They have confidence and they have swagger. And at 5-2, this team is climbing, looking like a Super Bowl caliber team. And then they continue to dominate. They continue to dominate because coming into week 9, they play the Minnesota Vikings at home, putting a clinic in all 3 phases of the game. Special teams, defense, gambling, offense, whatever, it doesn't matter. The Vikings lose by 30. Then week number 10, revenge. They travel to Washington, D.C. to take on the Commanders. This one's a little bit closer than expected, but Dan Campbell has the team focused post-bye, and the Lions survive a road trip in that trap game, and they get the revenge from the playoff loss. But week number 11, they're back on the road, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Lions run into a buzzsaw in Philly. Hurts and the Eagles have too much at home. Detroit Lions fall to 7-3. Week number 12, a nice little bounce back win when they play the New York Football Giants at home. The offense gets rolling again, and the defense puts a clamp on the Giants, moving them to 8-3 on the season. And then week 13, they're back at home Thanksgiving Day to play the Green Bay Packers. This one means everything. National stage, holiday spotlight, revenge from week 1. The Lions send a message and improve to 9-3 on the record. So, guys, the Detroit Lions own November with key wins over the Vikings and Packers to take control of the NFC North and putting themselves firmly in playoff seeding territory at 9-3. But this is where the wheels start to fall off the wagon. This is where they start to realize that they are not as good as they once was. In week 14, they play another Thursday night game, this time versus the Dallas Cowboys. A tough opponent, matter of fact, a great opponent, a Super Bowl caliber opponent, and the Dallas Cowboys pull this one out late, giving the Detroit Lions their 4th loss of the season. And then week 15, they travel to LA to take on the Los Angeles Rams. This is a great matchup. Jared Goff versus Matthew Stafford, the trade, the whatever, yada, yada, yada. The Rams offense outpaces the Detroit Lions. Back-to-back losses put pressure on the final stretch, giving the Lions the 5th loss of the season. Now, all they got to do is win 2 of their next 3 to firmly lock in a playoff spot. Let's see what they do. Week 16, they're at home, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Detroit Lions get right at home. This is a physical slugfest, but the Detroit Lions ground and pound their way to 10-5. And then week 17 at Minnesota Vikings. Short work week, another Thursday night game, the 3rd Thursday night game in 5 games. This is a recipe for a late down. And the Minnesota Vikings get the revenge and handle the Detroit Lions their 6th loss of the season. And then week number 18, all the playoff implications are on the line when they play the Chicago Bears, and the Lions show up ready, and they close out the season strong in Chicago, finishing 11-6. A rocky final month of the season, but the Detroit Lions show poise, finishing out the season and potentially winning the NFC North yet again. They finished the regular season as the NFC's most balanced teams. Not perfect, but battle-tested. So, guys, those are my way too early predictions for the 2025 Detroit Lions. 11 wins, 6 losses. That is good enough to stay in the playoff hunt, potentially winning the NFC North again, and definitely scary to whoever faces them in January. The question now is, if the Lions are good, and if they're good enough to win it when it counts, because last year they were not. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in your comments below. Shay says the Packers sweeping the Bears this year. Got to get back to the winning ways at Handout and Soldier. Shay, the Bears are better. Packers are good, but the Bears are better. Mellow Mike says the Lions are going 12-2. Losing 2 coordinators have them taking a step back this season. I don't think people are going to fully understand, Mellow Mike, that losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are huge. Now, we've seen it, other teams reload, rebuild, etc., right? We've seen the Philadelphia Eagles go to the Super Bowl, lose both of their coordinators, start the season off 11-0. Granted, they fell apart toward the end of the season, but it can be done. Is the Detroit Lions the right fix for that? Probably not, but we'll see. We will see. Mellow Mike says, Packers Super Bowl better? Talk to me when Love beats someone other than the trash Cowgirls, but hey, Jordan Love's going to be a top 5 quarterback this year, but we're talking about the Detroit Lions right now. Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback right now. Alpha Rob says 12-5 for the Lions. I think they're going to learn their lesson going all out every game. This is correct, Rob. Championship teams like the Eagles, like the Chiefs, they learn how to pace themselves throughout the season, right? When you play a team like the Browns, you give yourself a vanilla defense, a vanilla offense, right? When you play a team like the Miami Dolphins, you give yourself a vanilla defense, a vanilla offense, right? Just come out and beat me. You can't do it because we're better than you are. Man, Mellow Mike's on full troll mode, and I love every minute of it. Mellow Mike says, Buck's narrative sounds like a bedtime story to telling his boys. Real sleepers. Don't be hating, man. Don't be hating. Old Man River says, complete turnaround for Dan Campbell. Dan, the man Campbell. 13 wins and only 2 losses, Philly and Baltimore. Well, that would make them 15-2, brother. 15-2. Mellow Mike says, this man's at the Cowboys and Super Bowl in the same sentence. Man, ain't getting nothing up, brother, that case they had. Dog. If you do not think the Dallas Cowboys are a Super Bowl contending team, you got another thing coming, brother. Super Bowl bound. Cowboys versus Chiefs, Super Bowl 60. On the short bus. Get out of here with that. Oh, damn. Old Man Rivers labeled the Buckmeisters a window licker. Man, we about to have some problems, brothers. We about to have some brothers. Some problems. And a paint chip eater. Oh, man. What has happened to the live chat today, guys? Y'all dirty. Y'all dirty. But let's move on to the best team in the NFC North. That's right, the best team in the NFC North. We're talking about the one and only Green Bay Packers. Right there's a cheesehead, baby. Represent all day long, guys. But the Jordan Love era is no longer about potential anymore. It's about results. After a strong playoff run the last 2 seasons and growing chemistry on both sides of the ball, guys, the Green Bay Packers enter the 2025 NFL season as one of the most balanced young rosters in the NFL. But this schedule, it does not take it easy on them, baby. We're breaking down all 18 weeks of the 2025 schedule, predicting wins, losses, and momentum swings across the key 4 stretches of the season. Guys, can the Green Bay Packers reclaim the NFC North crown? Let's dive into it. So, guys, right off the bat, they start off strong, but then reality check happens quickly. Week number 1, they do open at home versus the one and only Detroit Lions. And right out of the gate, guys, the Packers take care of business against divisional rival. Jordan Love makes a statement with 4 touchdowns in this game, moving the Packers to the first win of the season. And then week number 2, the Washington Commanders come into town. Back-to-back playoff teams from 2024, back-to-back home games, and guess what? Back-to-back wins. The defense dominates, and Green Bay Packers jump to 2-0 on the season. But then week number 3, we have a little bit of reality check. Just like when I said you can play a vanilla defense and a vanilla offense versus the Cleveland Browns, the Packers try that, and in week 3 at Cleveland, the Cleveland defense is too much on the road. It's gritty, low-scoring game, but the Green Bay Packers take the first loss of the season. And then week number 4, they travel to Dallas, Texas, actually Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. Guys, Dallas on the road is never easy, and this one gets away late. The Packers get their second loss of their season heading into the week 5 bye. Once again, I'm not a huge fan of these early bye weeks, especially for teams like the Lions, Packers, and potentially the Chicago Bears that are going to make a postseason run. Early bye weeks suck for you guys, but the Packers do come out hot with two huge home wins over the Lions and Commanders, but the road proves tough. At 2-2, they look solid, but the tests are just getting started. So week number 6, they're back at home, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. After a week off to recover and recruit, the Green Bay Packers show up sharp. A big win over Joe Burrow and the Bengals, giving them the 3rd win on the season. And then week number 7, they travel to Lambeau West, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals are still rebuilding, and the Green Bay Packers take advantage of it. The defense forces multiple turnovers, giving them their 4th win on the season. And then week number 8, they do travel to Pittsburgh Steelers this time. A physical showdown slows down the Green Bay Packers' rhythm. Tough road environment results in a loss, dropping the Packers to 4-3 on the season. So guys, coming out of the bye, the Packers go 2-1 and keeping themselves in the NFC North race. They are winning games they should, but the inconsistency on the road is starting to show. And this will be a theme throughout this season. But the home stretch heats them up. First home game of this breakdown, week number 9, they play the Carolina Panthers. The Green Bay Packers take care of business against a Panthers team that basically should not even be in the NFL at this particular point. Week number 10, they're at home. Monday Night Football, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, in prime time, the Packers just cannot keep up with this as Philly's explosive offense. It's competitive, but they fall, giving them the 4th loss of the season. But then week number 11, they're back on the road, a bounce-back week, a get-right week versus the New York Football Giants. Jordan Love plays clean, mistake-free football, giving the Packers the win. Now, week number 5, they're back at home, taking on NFC North divisional rival Minnesota Vikings. A big divisional win at Lambeau Field. The defense pressures JJ McCarthy all night long, giving the Packers yet the 7th win of the season. And then week 13, Thanksgiving Day, short work week, traveling to Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. This one hurts. Detroit Lions get the revenge from week 1 in front of a national audience, and the Packers get their 5th loss of the season. So the Packers guys are still right in the mix. They go 3-2 in this 5-game stretch, and now they're sitting at 7-5. Every game down the stretch matters. It's playoff mode from here on out. Win or go home. And that's exactly what they do not do week 14. Week 14 at home versus the Chicago Bears, they get stunned at Lambeau Field. Caleb Williams outduels Jordan Love, and the Packers drop a critical divisional game, giving them a 6th loss of the season. But when they travel to Mile High Stadium in week 15, Sean Payton has the Denver Broncos back on track, but the Green Bay Packers offense makes key plays late, giving the Packers the 8th win of the season. And then week 16, they get a revenge game at Chicago this time, taking on the Chicago Bears, and the Packers flip the script in Chicago. Jordan Love silenced the crowd as the new owner of the Chicago Bears in Chicago gets the dub. And then week 17, Baltimore Ravens defense is elite. Lamar Jackson playmaking is just too much, and the Green Bay Packers fall to the Baltimore Ravens at home. And then week number 18, they travel to Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Guys, this game could be for a playoff spot. And if Green Bay Packers show up, I think they do show up, the defense clamps down, and the Packers finishing at 10-7 on the season. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. They do go 3-2 in the final stretch and lock up that 10-7 record, likely enough to get them into the playoffs or even sneak in as divisional title depending on the North shake it out. So there it is, guys. My way too early prediction, 10 wins, 7 losses for 2025 Green Bay Packers. This team isn't sneaking up on anyone anymore. Youth is no longer an excuse. Jordan Love has weapons. The defense has speed. The question is, can they win those high-pressure games late in the season? So what do you guys think? Is 2 wins too low? And can the Green Bay Packers win the North? Let's get into the comments here. Shay says, go Pack, go. That's right, baby. They are the best team in the NFC North. Let's just be honest. Best team in the NFC North. Mellow Mike says he just put trash on his head. Take out the trash, burn the Dallas Cowboys hat. No self-respecting Chiefs fan would ever let that hat touch their head. False. Mellow Mike says Packers will go 11-6 and make the playoffs. Okay. At 11-6, I think that wins the division. Alpha Rob is saying 10-7. We're on the same page. Same say. Thorfisky1 says, I'm going to go ahead and say no. No to what? The Green Bay Packers winning the North? As of right now, they are close. They're in the top half. Mellow Mike says, Dallas is easier than my prom date. Too bad Mellow Mike went to prom with his mom. I'm just sorry. It is what it is. Old Member says, Dallas makes him buy. Dallas and Kansas City Cowboys and the Indians kind of live that village people theme. Oh, yeah, man. Them shots fired in my ears, ringing YNC Buckeye. Sheesh. Assholes. Thorfisky, so the Vikings can't win in Lambeau, but the Bears can? Yeah, they can. You want to know why? Because the Minnesota Vikings are not that good, brother. The Minnesota Vikings are not that good. The Chicago Bears are better than the Minnesota Vikings. The Detroit Lions are better than Minnesota Vikings. And the Green Bay Packers are better than the Minnesota Vikings. Do I need to go on? The Eagles are better than the Vikings. The Cowboys are better than the Vikings. The Giants are better than the Vikings. The Commanders are better than the Vikings. The Rams, the 49ers, and the Cardinals are all better than the Minnesota Vikings as well. I'm just saying it is what it is. The only teams that they're not better than, the Panthers, the Saints. That's about it. But let's go ahead and talk about your Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk about those Minnesota Vikings, and JJ McCarthy is now the future in Minnesota. But in 2025, the future starts fast and it hits harder. Kevin O'Connell, guys, right, is building around his rookie quarterback. I know he's a second-year quarterback, but it's his rookie season with a fresh new look and a fresh outlook on his roster. It still has elite playmakers like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. But let's not sugarcoat this, guys. The schedule is brutal for the Minnesota Vikings. Between the overseas games, primetime pressures, and a gauntlet of late-season opponents, it's going to be a rocky season. So if you are a Vikings fan, I'm going to tell you this again. I was right about last season. I'm going to be right about this season as well. But early hope and international tests get the Minnesota Vikings started off right. But week number 1, they do travel to Chicago. Monday Night Football, JJ McCarthy makes his NFL debut, and it is a tough one. Soldier Field is rocking, Ben Johnson is clicking, and Caleb Williams 2.0 sets the tone early, and the defense capitalizes early, giving the Minnesota Vikings the first loss of the season. And then week number 2, they're back at home, taking on the Atlanta Falcons, and the home opener delivers. The Vikings bounce back with a strong all-around performance against the Atlanta Falcons. Not a very good team, and they're still finding their identity throughout the season. And then week number 3, Cincinnati Bengals come into town. Yes, Joe Burrow is dangerous. Yes, Jamar Chase is a dog. Yes, everybody else on the offense are dogs. But the Cincinnati Bengals defense is terrible, and the Vikings bring that injury and ride the crowd. JJ McCarthy gets his first signature win moment in the NFL, throwing 4 touchdowns versus the Cincinnati Bengals, giving them yet another win. But then, week number 4, overseas games start. Overseas games are always unpredictable, especially against a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I feel this one is leading the Pittsburgh Steelers' way. TJ Watt and the Steelers defense rattles the rookie, air quotes there, and the Vikings fall, giving the second loss of the season. And they do play back-to-back international games, but this time it is in Germany. With the second international game, this time versus the Cleveland Browns, the Vikings get it done. The defense shows up, and JJ McCarthy plays a clean game heading into the bye week. So it is an encouraging start for the Minnesota Vikings, right? They go 3-2. With 2 other wins at home and 1 overseas, JJ McCarthy looks like he belongs in the NFL, and the team is competing. But there's a very, very tough stretch ahead. Week 6 is a bye week after those 2 international games, and then week number 7, they're back at home playing the Philadelphia Eagles. You can call it a post-bye week spark. but the Vikings play one of their best games of the season, pulling off an upset over the Philadelphia Eagles, giving them their 4th win of the season. But then week 8, they travel to LA to take on the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh has the LA Chargers rolling. It's a high-scoring shootout, but the Chargers take it late, giving them the Vikings a 3rd loss of the season. And in week number 9, they travel to Detroit. Detroit is tough at home. The Vikings get out-physicaled in the trenches. They get out-coached. They get outplayed. Back-to-back losses for the Minnesota Vikings. Week number 10, they are back at home. Lamar Jackson proves to be too much to handle. Minnesota Vikings defense struggles with the containment 3-game skid, dropping them to 4-5 on the season. So, guys, the Vikings came out of their bye with a huge win, but then they run into a wall. Sitting at 4-5, and it just continues to get worse because week 11, they welcome the Chicago Bears to town. And the Chicago Bears sweep the Minnesota Vikings. Caleb Williams outshines JJ McCarthy yet again, and the home crowd leaves disappointed. Week number 12, they travel to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and a Lambeau Field is a nightmare for JJ McCarthy in his first visit. Jordan Love controls the game. Give me the 7th loss for the Vikings. Week the Vikings grab a much-needed road win in Seattle. The defense comes up big late, not carried by the offense, but by the defense. Week 14, they're back at home game and fall to 5-8 on the season. Guys, this stretch of the season exposes the Minnesota Vikings youth. They go week 15, the playoff hopes are officially drowned when they go to Dallas and they lose to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas is in playoff form. Minnesota Vikings struggle to keep up and the skid continues, giving them another loss on the season. Then week 16, they travel to New York. Cold weather, West Coast game in December. The Giants capitalized on the Minnesota Vikings' mistakes, giving them the 10th loss of the season. But week 17, there's a bright point. The Vikings are here to play spoiler. They rise to the occasion at home, and they take down the mighty Detroit Lions in a statement game, giving them the 6th win of the season. But then week 18 at home, welcome the Green Bay Packers into town, and the season ends with another divisional loss. The Packers close out strong, and the Minnesota Vikings finish 6-11 on the season. Now, the Vikings go 1-3 in their final stretch, finishing 6-11. It's a tough year, but this lays the foundation for what is next in the JJ McCarthy era. They could be good in a couple seasons, but right now they're back to where they were, 6-11. Not very good. But guys, this is my way too early win-loss predictions for the Minnesota Vikings. It is a rebuilding year, but not a wasted one. JJ McCarthy shows flashes. The coaching staff saw what they work with and does it, and it's just growing pains, right? It's just growing pains at this point. But 6-11, guys, is it too low? Can JJ McCarthy lead a surprise playoff push yet again for the Minnesota Vikings? What are your guys' thoughts? Old Man River says, no, Buck. No, Buck. Minnesota is better than the Green Bay Packers. What? To what? Get out of here with that. Alpha Rob said the Minnesota Vikings go 10-7. 10-7. If they get 10 wins, they're definitely a playoff team. Like Alpha Rob. I think 10 wins in the NFC is the magic number. So that is tough. James says last place for the Vikings. Detroit taking the NFC North again this season. Vikings going to go down in London. Miles puts a show on in London. I thought they played London first and then Germany. I may have got those mistakes. That's my mistake. Old Man River says 9-8 for the Vikings. Learning curve for JJ. It's almost like they should have listened to Buck and kept Sam Darnold for a franchise tag them, huh? But what do I know, right? What do I know? Mellow Mike says the Vikings go 10-7. Jetta and Addison prop up the kid. But they need a healthy running back one to take pressure off of him. They don't have a number one. They have Josh Jacobs. Is Josh Jacobs not a number one guy? No, not Josh Jacobs. Aaron Jones, I'm sorry. Josh Jacobs plays for the Packers, right? They got Aaron Jones. Do you not think Aaron Jones is a number one guy? Here's Thor says, okay. You are going to be surprised with the Vikings. 10-12 wins this season. Listen, I think we were all shocked by the Vikings last season. We all did not expect them to they were 14 wins last season. Nobody expected that last season. Let's just be flat out honest. And anybody that says, I had the Vikings going to playoff team, whatever, shut up. No, you did not. Everybody that we talked to, everybody that we've seen, everybody that we had on the show is saying that the Minnesota Vikings were rebuilding last season. And those same people came on the show and said, oh, I knew they were going to be good. Shut up. No, you didn't. Nobody in their right mind knew the Minnesota Vikings were going to get 12, 13 wins or 14 wins last season. So 10 and 12, how would that be a surprise? Honestly, the 6 wins for me would be more of a surprise because they got 14 wins last season. So 10 and 12, you are expected to get that. You're expected to do the same thing as you did last season, if not better. The surprise is getting worse. Mellow Mike says, why the purple hat from Mr. K-State? My mom wasn't my prom date, but her feet are bigger than mine. No way I was risking that. That's tough. Rim McCoy says the Vikings go 8-9. Very good possibility. Sweeping the Bears. Aaron Jones, injury-prone Jones. Yes, Mellow Mike, you are not 100% wrong there, but yeah, he is very injury-prone. Old Man River says 3 years ago, Aaron Jones was the number one, not so much now. I don't know. I think he still scored another touchdown on the Dallas Cowboys. He was the man, the myth, the legend there. The man, the myth, the legend there. But guys, I do have the Minnesota Vikings going 6-11 this particular season. Obviously, way too early. We're going to revisit this thing again in August. But let's talk about the final standings. Let's talk about the final standings for the NFC North. And this, guys, and I believe that the NFC North is shaping up to be one of the most competitive divisions in football. And yet, the top dog remains the same. The guys, I feel that the Detroit Lions will wear the crown again in 2025. The Packers are hot on their heels, but the Bears are rising with Caleb Williams, and the Vikings, well, they just got growing pains are very, very real for JJ McCarthy. But coming in first place, guys, sitting at 11-6 record, 4-2 in the division are the Detroit Lions. As they do repeat physical, they're explosive, and they're relentless. But this season, the offense looks a little different underneath John Morton, stepping in as a new offensive coordinator. He's got the experience, but is yet to be tested to maintain the same rhythm as Ben Johnson established before taking the Bears job. They opened the season with a tough road loss at Lambeau, but bounced back with a 5-game winning streak to take down the Bears, Browns, Bengals, Chiefs. Coming in first place, I do have the Detroit Lions at 11-6. And then finishing in second place are the Green Bay Packers, sitting at 10-7, 4-2 in the division as well. Start the season with wins over the Lions and the Commanders, and the Thanksgiving loss in Detroit. This team shows real resilience. They finished 10-7, splitting the season. It's another step forward in the Jordan Love era. If they get hot at the right time, this team can make some noise in January, a.k.a. Super Bowl, baby. But then, 9-8, 3-3 in the division. Heads into a second with home wins against the Cowboys and Saints. But a push. But finally looks live in the division. Guys, JJ McCarthy is expected to take over at quarterback, pending Aaron Rodgers signing, and the early returns are mixed. They grabbed some impressive wins, like back-to-back victories over the Falcons and Bengals early, plus a huge win against the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 7, but a brutal stretch of road games, overseas travels in weeks 4 and 5, and a division that simply just outmatched them lead to a slide. Guys, the Vikings lose 4 straight games in the second half of the season to just go 1-5 in the NFC North, including losses in both matchups against the Packers and Bears. Guys, Dan Quinn's Commanders and the Cowboys delivered late season blows, and even a Week 17 win over Detroit isn't enough to turn the tide. Kevin O'Connell's seat might start to get warm if this trend continues. But guys, the question of the night, is this the year the NFC North sends 3 teams to the playoffs? Are we going to see the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and the Detroit Lions all make the playoffs? Or are we just going to see 1 or 2 again? Let me know what you guys think about our picks. Mellow Mike says he talks like he's some great feet to run up the middle for a touchdown on that weak-ass Mike Zimmer defense. Defensive tackles might well been tackling dummies. Yeah, about that playoff game, I think the Dallas Cowboys forgot they were playing. Let's just call a spade a spade. They were not very good that game. Not very good that game. But guys, might be his 11th season. We
keep it live and raw. Better stay tuned in. Dave's in the lead. I'm checking the score. We about to do it like never before. NFL live, uncut, raw. This is Man Hour. NFL talk. Let's go.